There's a reason the world feels more incoherent by the day. It's not just corruption. It's not just bad policy. It's a coalition. A coalition between two forces that should be natural enemies. Secular technocrats and Christian theocrats. But instead of clashing, they've made a deal. And that deal now governs the United States. This is the Dominionist techno-alliance. On one side worships God. The other worships control. One believes in prophecy, the other believes in prediction, but both reject the Enlightenment. Let's walk through this step by step. Christian dominionism is not just about faith. It's a political theology that says America should be governed according to biblical law. No separation of church and state, no neutrality. The goal is simple: to transform America into theocracy piece by piece. Christian Zionism goes even further. It's an apocalyptic framework that supports authoritarianism in the name of prophecy. Israel is elevated not as a people, but as a symbol, a trigger for the end times. That's why many of these figures unconditionally support Benjamin Netanyahu, no matter how extreme his policies become. Because for them, democracy isn't sacred. It's disposable. Theocracy is the goal. On the other side, we have the techno-monarchists, Musk, Theo, and their orbit. These aren't believers in God. They believe in hierarchy. In their view, society works best when run by powerful men with no accountability. People like Yarvin call it formalism. Musk calls it efficiency. What it really means is unquestioned rule. So how did these two camps, one obsessed with prophecy, the other with productivity, end up working together? Because they see each other as useful. Technocrats need a voting base. Dominionists need institutional access. The result is a shared project, the end of democratic governance. And here's where J.D. Vance comes in. He is not just vice president. He's the bridge. Vance presents himself as a populist, a family man, a man of faith. But his policies are written in the style of Peter Thiel, and his rise was bankrolled by the very people dismantling democratic institutions. He speaks to the evangelicals, but he governs for the oligarchs. That's not a contradiction. That's the model. Faith becomes a tool for obedience. Capital becomes the engine of compliance. Together, they merge into rule without dissent. And if you think this is just about the US, think again. This alliance is global. In Israel, Netanyahu uses religious extremism to suppress democratic resistance and justify genocide. In Russia, Putin uses Orthodox traditionalism to justify imperial rule. In Hungary, Orban wraps illiberalism in Christian nationalism. And in the US, the Dominionist techno-alliance uses culture war to distract from structural decay. None of them are promoting belief. They're promoting hierarchy, with belief as the wrapper. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous, because this isn't belief-based governance. It's belief used as governance software. You don't need everyone to believe. You just need belief to be useful, a tool to justify control, to sanctify inequality, to turn dissent into sin and obedience into virtue. Let's return to the Enlightenment for a moment. The Enlightenment said, the state has no right to impose religion. Belief is personal. Power must be rational, accountable, and bound by consent. The Dominionist techno-alliance violates all of that. It merges religious obedience with corporate control. It replaces consent with compliance. It replaces truth with a narrative. And it does it all while pretending to defend tradition or efficiency. But what they're really defending is domination. This isn't an alliance of faith and reason. It's an alliance of submission and control. And it's not theoretical. It's the operating structure of the current regime. We are no longer dealing with isolated ideologies. We are dealing with a fused governing system, one that uses spiritual absolutism and economic absolutism to justify the same outcome. A world where liberty is obsolete, a world where the future is owned, not shared, a world where becoming is outlawed because self-authorship is a threat to hierarchy. That is the cult of unbecoming, and it is spreading. If we are to defeat it, we must first understand that the struggle is not between left and right. It is between enlightenment and endarkenment, between extropy and entropy, between liberty and obedience. And no matter what form it takes, divine or digital, theocracy in any wrapper is tyranny.